Mr. Dansby, you're petitioning the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant, Ms. Simpson, has been lying in her claim that you are the father of her 3-year-old son, Tanoris. Now, Ms. Simpson, you're countersuing Mr. Dansby for child rearing expenses in the sum of $3,361.56, which is half of the money you claim to have spent on Tanoris.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Dansby, why is it it's taking you 3 years to petition the court for a DNA test?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
The reason why it took 3 years, ma'am, because Ms. Simpson, she had been lying to me. It was so much shade. She had another dude who she was dealing with. I mean, it was one particular morning I had caught.
No, what it was that I had been trying to get you to do a DNA test, but you chose to run. You didn't want to go to the child support place to do the DNA test.
Is that true, Mr. Dansby?
So,
Ma'am, that's not true. Ms. Simpson, she had been lying. I had doubts about this kid, Tanoris. Is this so much as my son? She have not let me see. I don't even know the kid.
But how?
How
can I let you see him when I can't find you?
You knew where I was. You got in
I don't
contact
know
with
where
me
you
through
at.
Facebook.
You don't stay in one spot, so therefore, how can I find you?
You got in contact with me through Facebook with one of my family members.
Okay.
Mr. Dansby, let me ask you this, though. What effort have you made to try to get the DNA test done?
Well, Your Honor, it was times where I had reached out to Ms. Simpson. I had got in contact with Ms. Simpson through phone. If it was so much as my son, why haven't you brought the kid around me? The
All
kid
right.
carry another
Why
man
should I have to bring you down?
I want to understand this relationship more, and I can see right now, nobody made enough of an effort to get a DNA test, but that's why you're here today.
Yes.
So take me back.
All right.
This relationship,
Okay.
how did it start?
Man, we met through a mutual friend. She moved me into her home where she was staying there with her other 2 kids. Ms. Simpson had another man who she was dealing with.
When you met her,
Oh,
explain.
Okay, what happened was it was one particular school morning. I was getting her kids ready for school. Okay, I got them on the school bus. Ms. Simpson was taking a shower that morning. I just so happened caught the phone call. It was another dude. He was shocked to hear me.
I don't recall
of
that phone call.
And later on, I had talked to Ms. Simpson about the strange phone call. And she told me that it was the dude that was paying her phone bill.
No.
So I'm lying on you?
Yes, you are lying.
I caught the phone call. You told me about the dude.
You're lying.
You told me about the dude.
Well, Miss Simpson, how do you know he's lying if you don't remember the conversation?
That's how I know he's lying, because I don't recall of it. If it was the truth, I would remember.
That man told me that you was his lady. Point blank.
How
and I asked you about
this lady and you will stand with me? If that's the case, why would I have
Mr. Dansby, the man told you that she was his lady?
Yes.
And then what did you say?
No.
I spoke with her about it. I thought he heard.
So you all just hung up. After that, you hung up, and then that's when you had the conversation with her.
Yes.
All right. So from at that point, you were on notice. There was
another man.
You knew there was some man in the picture in your mind.
Exactly.
Okay. So how does this translate as it moves forward and you find out she's pregnant?
After the strange phone call, we had went to visit her dad in her hometown, where he from, which is Vidalia, Georgia. Okay, we went down there, and she said she was feeling sick that particular day. So we went to the pharmacy. She went and took a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, she said it came out to find out that she was pregnant.
Did you immediately assume
I had my doubts. I immediately assumed.
From the beginning.
If you had your doubt, if you didn't think that this baby was yours, why did you so-called put on like you was happy?
Because I didn't want to rain on nobody's parade, Miss Simpson.
But don't rain. I mean, rain on my parade.
You had me around
rain on my parade.
Miss Simpson, you had me around all your family.
I don't want you giving me this energy that you're happy about this child when you're not happy about this child.
So you all were a couple having a baby.
Right.
She told me that this was
just like he went on and told his.
Wait a minute. She what?
Ma'am, Miss Simpson stated over the phone that Tanara wasn't none of my child.
When did she say this?
Okay, and that came
this was like,
about,
this was in 3 months before he was even born.
It was not 3 months. It was not 3 months.
Hold on. I want to understand this. Get me to this conversation 3 months before the baby was even born, where you say she told you the baby wasn't even yours.
I asked. We was talking over the phone, and she somewhat got an attitude with me about the situation, about
Yes,
Tanara.
I did. I sure
You know what I'm
did.
saying? Because she had told me
who
one
wanna
time that
deal
they
with
want none of
somebody's
my
child?
So you got into an argument.
We got into an argument
And
about
she
it.
said,
She said that Tanara wasn't none of my child.
and did you say that,
And
Miss
so I'm
Simpson?
like,
Yes, I did. Your
Why
Honor.
did you say that?
Because I don't want to
Thank
deal
you.
with that childish with him. I would rather sit here and go through it by myself than be stressed out about whether or not he's going to play a part in my child's life.
You had
While I'm
another
pregnant.
man. I mean,
You keep bringing up another man.
Miss Simpson, did
It ain't
you,
even
were
about
you
that.
with anyone else? Were you sleeping with anyone else?
It was a possibility of someone else. So,
So you admit there was another man.
yes, Your Honor, it was.
At what point did you admit to Mr. Dansby that there was another man?
It was maybe 3 months into the pregnancy.
So that is the conversation he's speaking about when you said this is not even your child?
Yes.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Why is it you don't believe anything
okay,
she
the
said?
reason why I have my doubts about Miss Simpson because she a compulsive liar. This is my timeline.
Outlines all of the lies. Walk me through this. I want to understand
everything. We met through a friend.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In November 2011, that's when you got the old man phone call.
Yes, I got the phone call from the old dude. And he was shocked to hear me just like I was shocked to hear from him.
All right.
Okay.
And then moving forward, she announces the pregnancy.
Yes, she announced that. She told everyone she was pregnant. I had my doubts about that, about her being
So
pregnant.
you were doubtful again and felt like there was something shady going on then
Yes,
too.
it was a lot of shade going on with me.
Move forward to April 2012. That's when she told you.
That's when she told me that I wasn't the father.
So now you really questioning.
I'm questioning Yolanda like one behind the other. I'm trying to find out what's the truth. Is she lying to me or not?
So now July 2012, Tanoris is born.
Yeah, he was born, and I was trying to. I had got in contact with Miss Simpson. I was trying to find out whether it was my son or not, and she told me
Because you weren't there at the hospital when he was born.
No, I was not. It was another man there when she was in the hospital.
There was?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
Was there? Oh, Miss Simpson,
Yes,
there
it
was?
was.
Who is this man?
It was the guy that I had been dealing with for a while, and then we broke it off, and then that's when I started dealing with Mr. Dansby. And then me and this guy started back dealing. So therefore, he stepped up to the plate, and he helped me with my child.
All right, so let me jump ahead in this timeline to October 2014. When you
October
say it's
2014.
the first time you met Tanoris, what was shady about that?
That was my first time ever seeing tonight. But I feel like if she's so confident about this, my son, why it took 3 years for me to see Tanaris?
Okay, but I got evidence that
Okay, we did
you
take
put
a
on
picture.
Facebook. You
We
put
did.
on
What is
there.
that evidence, ma'am?
It is a picture of him and Tanoris where
I
he
took the
says
picture.
that.
Jerome, will you hand that to me, please? This is a picture of
Me and Tanaris.
Yes,
Mr. Dansby and Tanoris.
That was my first time ever seeing Tanaris that same day. My family members, they seen
But if you
Tanaris.
didn't think he was yours, why would you say like father, like son? I shouldn't have to drive an hour and a half just for him to meet my child. Yes, true. No, you might not have had a car, but at the same time, you could have found a way to come and see this child. You knew where I stayed. You
Your
could have
Honor.
reached out through Facebook. Or
You
coulda
felt
got-
like he wasn't making enough effort.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it had been several occasions, several times I had tried to reach out to Miss Simpson as far as me and her getting together, sitting down and talking like grown people about Tanaris. It was all talk, no action with Miss Simpson. Miss Simpson stayed
And
3
so
hours
in a
away
year,
from me.
though, Mr. Dansby,
I stay
you
3
couldn't-
hours now.
You couldn't get a ride for an hour and a
It
half
had
for a
been
bus.
Judge, Your Honor, it had been times where I had rides lined up to take me to visit Miss Simpson and Tanaris.
And what
her
would
other 2
happen?
kids.
But did you call? Did you try to reach out?
Miss
to me?
Simpson used to.
Did you call? Did you
Did I
try to
call?
reach out
It
to
had
me?
been plenty of times I had called you, Miss Simpson.
But you didn't say that you wanted to see this child.
I was calling you. That's the only reason I was calling your phone.
Okay,
like,
but
So,
did you
Mr.
make it
Dansby,
clear
you
that
think she was
on your way?
dodging you?
yes. I really do feel deep down that she was dodging me, man.
Dodge you for what? Why? Why
'Cause
would I
the
want
guilt-
to
'cause
dodge
you-
you?
'cause you had
That is
been
an
lying to
innocent
me.
child that need a father. So why would I dodge you when my child need a father?
Can I? My dad wasn't there for me when I was a kid. So I take this very deep. As far as I do want Tanara to know that who his father is. I do want to be his father.
Yes, because you don't want that cycle.
Because I got 3 kids of my own. I got 3 girls. I take care of all my kids. She know that. I don't understand why.
I don't know,
Have
nigga,
you
because mine ain't
stepped
to
up
kill.
since this picture and you met Tanaris? Have you stepped up to help support him?
I mean, yes, I've been supporting Tanaris. Yeah.
How? Child support?
Yeah, child support.
Okay, and that just
But
started like
it's not
a
about
month
the
ago.
money. I need
No,
to
it's not
bond
about
with this.
the
I need to
money.
bond with him if he my son.
Okay,
so you
and I
need to
understand
it.
But have you bonded with him?
No, I have not had the opportunity to bond with Tanaris. I only seen him one time, man. That's
In
it.
your life?
In my life. I only seen him one, and that was only for like 2 hours. He don't even know me. He don't know me.
The man is saying he wanted to bond with the child. He wanted to be more active in the child's life. It just doesn't seem to add up.
Well, I mean, I understand, but I feel like he didn't put as much effort into it to get me to bring my child.
Because the reason why, because you
All
were
right.
lying to me. You should never
How
told me.
was
So, I heard that. As it relates to your suit, you have evidence outlining the expenses you've
Yes, I
incurred
do.
thus far. I'd like to see that. Jerome, will you hand it to me, please? Please explain to me, Ms. Simpson, the expenses that you've outlined here. Of course, food, bottles.
Yes.
What else have you bought for the child?
Clothes, diapers.
They total $6,723.12, which is why you're suing for half that amount, because
Yes,
you
ma'am.
feel like that is what's owed to you,
Yes.
because that's what he should have contributed. Now, you understand I can't rule on your suit until it is determined whether or not Mr. Dansby is in fact Tanaris' biological father, because he would have no legal responsibility to care for the child financially if in fact it is not his biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dansby, have you made any contribution to the upbringing of this child financially? I know you haven't seen him a lot
I mean,
thus far.
they be taking money out my check every time I get paid for Tanaris.
How much have they taken out?
They be taking 100. It only took like about 360 from me already.
240.
240, 360.
240.
240. They don't
Yes,
took money
that's
out
all
my
I
check like
have
3 separate
received
occasions.
is 240, and that was
So
the payment.
they
It's
took
still-
$360, but you've received $240, ma'am. Okay.
This is my child. Why you haven't brought this man? Let me meet the kid. Let me bond with the kid. If you know
And
for a
when
fact
we
that
get
my
these
child,
results in
you keep talking about results, but
when we
you
get
say
these results and it's in print that Tanaris is yours, you can have all the time that you want with your child because my child deserves a father.
yeah, he do this. He didn't
But
ask for none of this.
until
But at the
then-
same time, I feel as though
Until then, you will not get a month until I get
won't
this
get a-
print. That he
But you say
yours.
this my son for sure though. Like you,
Yes,
you
he's
confident.
yours.
You 110.
He's yours.
You very confident about
Very
this.
confident that he's yours.
Why you won't let me take the? You won't let me
Miss
do
Simpson, let me ask you this. Before I go to these results, are there any other men we need to know about that you've left out of the conversation? Mr. Dansby has been very clear that your facts are sometimes a little shady, and
Yeah.
all the facts aren't always there when you tell a story. Let's just
No,
say
Your
that.
Honor, it's
Is there
not-
anything else you'd like to say in this courtroom today before I go to the results?
Once we get these results, I need for you to step up and be a father
No
to
problem.
my son.
I have no problem with doing that, Miss Simpson. I
Okay.
would have been stepped up had you would have just kept it real with me.
Okay.
So,
You see what I'm saying? Don't lie to me. Don't do that.
So, Miss
Don't lie to me.
Simpson, Miss Simpson, what you're saying is that there is no way, no how, and no chance that anybody else could be Tanaris' father besides Mr. Dansby.
No, Your Honor.
All right,
Not.
Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope. Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Dansby versus Simpson, pertaining to 3-year-old Tanaris, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Dansby, you are Tanaris' father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I've said it, there's been many days, and I've asked men to enumerate. Tell me what your doubt is and what it's based on. And there are some times when, men just get in their head that they're not the father, they can't be the father, but they can't talk about and really explain why they're doubtful. In this case, Mr. Dansby, you had a right to be doubtful.
I know, man. I mean,
you did. And ultimately, Ms. Simpson admitted that. But now we have the truth.
I feel good about the results.
And say that I'm sorry for all the trouble that I have took you through. So now can we start out to a better start for our child?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. I love that.
Sure.
Good for you, Ms. Simpson, because that's what this courtroom is all about. Now, in light of today's results, that in fact Tanaris is Mr. Dansby's biological child, Ms. Simpson, you are entitled to half of the amount of money that you've spent thus far raising Tanaris. Now, you came to court suing for $3,361.56. Is that correct?
Yes.
You do acknowledge you've received $240 thus far from Mr. Dansby, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So for that reason, the court can award you $3,121.56 in child rearing expenses. Ms. Touray, you are in court to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that he is the biological father of your adult son, Trayvon Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an absentee father, full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell the court.
Well, it's not fair to my son, and he really needs to man up because he's depriving my child of a father. He is the father of my son.
And so you believe that you are not Trayvon's biological father?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You believe that from the beginning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I could not
Your
have
Honor, I
signed
got proof today that he did sign the birth certificate and his name is on my son's
I'd like
birth.
to see that proof. Jerome?
Your Honor, I could not have signed the birth certificate. I was not, I was incarcerated at the time Trayvon was born.
Thank you. So this birth certificate, child's name, Trayvon Lacey's, father's name, Larry Lacey. But it's typed in.
Mm-hmm.
Was he present at the birth?
He was not present, no.
You basically just gave them his name.
I gave him his name because...
And they typed it in.
Yes.
So, Mr. Lacey, when did you find out that she claimed you were Trayvon's biological father?
I say Trayvon probably was about between 3 and 6 months years old. I received a court paper to go to the state of Ohio child support court. And me and Miss Touray, we did both appear at the child support court. When I walked into the court, the judge, he looked at me, he said, "That's your son, you have nothing to say."
That's not true, Your Honor. They gave him an opportunity for a DNA.
No, they
if he
did
had
not, Your
any
Honor.
doubt that my son was not
No, they
his
did
child,
not, Your Honor. I
Hamilton
would've took the
County gave
DNA.
him a window of an opportunity to say yes or nay, I want a DNA. He said, no, it's my son. We went forth with the child support case.
You don't remember any of that happening?
No, ma'am.
Yes, he
That's
did.
not the way I remembered it happening, Your Honor.
Okay, but he's on the birth certificate.
He is.
So he is the legal father.
Yes.
As far
And
as
his
she
court
signed.
papers say he's paying child support.
Yes.
You paying
and
child support?
I have proof that, Your Honor.
Let me see that.
There you go.
But Your Honor, I want to put this to bed. I'm tired of reliving this. Okay, I made a mistake. It wasn't even a mistake. I was just living on my own. He just keep throwing his man in my face over and making my son feel bad. I'm ready to put it to bed. That's what I want to do and get on with our life.
Right.
Your Honor, my intention is not to make Trayvon feel bad, nor is my intention to make Mr. Touray feel bad. Only thing I want to know is the truth.
Sounds like, as we stand here today, that there is, in fact, a real question of paternity that both sides acknowledge. You presented this evidence to the court, which indicates that you owe $37,200 and some odd dollars in child support, which you have
Knock it down to $5,000.
You've got about $5,800. It's past due. You've paid all of that. So throughout these years, you've paid.
I've been paying off and on. Sometimes during them years I was unemployed. As soon as I find employment again, then, you know, my wages start being garnished.
But you've
again.
managed to pay that $37,000 down to almost $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you getting it done.
And the only thing that Miss Touray have told me is this, because I asked her about the other gentleman. And she told me that she went to the other gentleman and she spoke to that gentleman, and the gentleman told her, no, Trayvon is not his child because he do not look like any of his other children. And Miss Touray accepted that.
So now let me understand. Who is this other?
I don't know the gentleman's name,
Can I-
he is the gentleman when me and Miss Touray was first got together. I had to leave and go out of town.
Okay, take me back to that. How you met? You met.
Okay, I met Miss Touray. I was on the city bus and she was on the city bus, and she had her oldest son to walk up to me and give me a piece of paper with a phone number on it. Okay. So when I looked at the phone number, I'm wondering who is this. So I turn around and I'm watching where the child goes. The child went back and he sat next to Miss Touray. I looked at her and said, nice looking young lady. Maybe we can get together.
And so, Miss Touray, you don't remember sending your son up with the phone number?
Your Honor, yes, I do remember meeting Mr. Lacey, and partially that is true. The thing is, I found him very attractive and very charming. Yes, I did, and I did approach him because I liked what I saw. So the chemistry, once we started talking, the chemistry was good, and he decided to move in with me. Well, at this time, my first time I had sex with Mr. Lacey, he got me pregnant, but I didn't know it at the time. So Mr. Lacey told me he left and went out of town. He just disappeared, Your Honor. He disappeared. I don't know where he went, but later on down the road, as time revealed, he was living a double life. It was another woman in the neighborhood that he had left me for. So at that time, I thought, it was over.
So wait a minute, you all in this relationship, everything's going fine, then you come back home and Mr. Lacey is gone?
No, Mr. Lacey had sex with me and took off.
Oh, so after he had sex,
he had sex
left.
with me and took off. I didn't see him for a long time after that.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
how me
I
and
thought
this
you
other
said he
guy
moved
got
in.
together.
I thought you
Your
said he
Honor.
moved in.
Yes, he did. That was after the fact. He came back and caught the guy at my house.
So, Mr. Lacey, tell me what happened with this guy.
Okay, Your Honor. I had to go out of town and take care of some family business for a week. When I came back into town, I knock on the door, and the door opened. Well, I see my pajamas. My pajamas. Miss Touray has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
Your pajamas.
My pajamas. I didn't argue. I didn't fuss. I didn't create no drama. I didn't fight. I didn't do anything. I turned around. I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go. So we left.
So do you remember this incident with the pajamas, Miss Touray?
He is straight lying, I'm telling you, Your Honor. When he came and knocked on my door, I answered the door, and my new friend came to the door with me. He had on his own clothes, first of all. He had on a pair of pants, he didn't have on a
He
shirt.
had on pajama pants.
He didn't have on a shirt,
It was blue.
but he did have
and
his
you had
own
on the
clothes
blue pajama
on.
top.
And I had my clothes on.
No, you did
Okay,
not.
so pajamas or no pajamas, were you intimate with this guy? You said it's your new friend.
I was intimate, yes. But I just moved in town. I got my new apartment. I was feeling all grown in my apartment, doing grown stuff in my grown apartment.
You sure were. You
Yes,
sure
I
were. How soon after he walks in on you and Pajama Man did you find out you were pregnant?
Well, I didn't find out until I went to the OBGYN, and at that time, he told me that I was like 12 to 14 weeks already into my pregnancy.
Really?
And he was the only man I had sex in that time frame. Because I
You was 12
I didn't know
14
nobody
weeks
else.
pregnant, and we had only been together for no more than a month. How could Trayvon be my child?
Because DNA gonna tell you it's your child. We were just having sex.
Well, I get that. Unprotected, I guess.
Of
Yes,
course.
ma'am.
So,
Rubber in hand and peels another one. It just happened that way.
so, how soon after that did you transition to Pajama Guy?
About 2
About
weeks
three-
after.
Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks.
About 2 or
I
3
already
weeks.
had eyes on him, but I ran into Larry, and I started talking to him.
Miss Touray, you was on Team Too Much back then.
What?
You was on Team Too Much back then.
I
You
was
had
Team
eyes
Too
on
Much.
one?
We live and we learn. And I'm not
saying
saying too
you-
much now, though, but
Good.
at that time
Yes,
I was.
good,
I was
good.
in it to win it. I was new in town. I had my own place.
Yeah, you was on team too much.
You're right.
Trayvon, I haven't heard from you yet. You've been very quiet listening to this testimony, and I know some of it's probably difficult, son. Do you have something you'd like to say to the court?
Yes, I want to start off by saying my mom, you know, she was, you know, an excellent mother. She raised 3 boys by herself, all at different ages. So I want to give her, you know, kudos for that. You know, I believe I done turned out okay. I have. I also want to go on to say that, you know, Larry's absence in my life, it definitely affected me in a negative way. Growing up, it was tough. You know, I started having sex at a young age. I just wish if I had a father there, he could have pointed me in the right direction.
Talk to Mr. Lacey about specifically how this affected you growing up, not having him in your life.
Larry, I believe, you know, growing up with my mom, you know, there's a lot of things that I wish you could have been there with, you know, as far as her having to be my father as well as my mother. I feel like if you were there, it was a lot of, you know, heartache and headaches that I could have avoided. As far as my children, which I believe are your grandchildren, they have a right to know who their grandfather is.
True.
You know, so I wanna let you know that, and I'm just ready to get these results so we can move forward in our lives.
When you hear that, Mr. Lacey, how do you feel?
It makes me feel good, and it also makes me feel a little sad, you know, because during the time that I wanted to be in Trayvon's life, Khadijah didn't want me around. I never had hatred toward Khadijah for what she done. Only thing I disagreed with Miss Touray on was not allowing me to be closer as I wanted to be.
Ms. Touray, did you keep Mr. Lacey away from the boys?
Absolutely not.
A lot of times it was the relationships
Absolutely
that she
not.
was in and the
let me
things
share
that
an
she
ex-
was doing in her life.
No, I think the whole thing in a
Exactly.
nutshell, he's just trying to get out
Now.
of child support payment.
Now,
Well, I mean, he done paid it now,
That's
so,
right. So-
now
If
this
that's
is
true,
he's not
it's
getting that
rubbish.
money back. So that's not a motive right now. That's irrelevant.
He probably doesn't know that, though.
That's irrelevant. When we started the case, it was your testimony. You believe he is Trayvon's biological father, but through the testimony, it has been revealed to me that you acknowledge and recognize that there is a real doubt and a reason behind that doubt because you engaged in sexual activity with another person.
Right.
Is this the first time you ever honest with Trayvon about the fact that you really do understand? And you say yes, Trayvon. This is the first time in court today that you've heard your mother acknowledge that there really could be a doubt as to whether or not Mr.
and it's
Lacey.
also the first time I heard this, man.
He is lying.
So when
When Miss Touray came from the doctor and she told me that she was pregnant, you know, I asked Touray, I said, is it mine or is it the other guy's? She told me, she said, it's yours. So I rolled with the punches.
And these are how paternity secrets, they affect the individual. We're going to go to the results in just a moment. But Trayvon, I think it's important today for you to share with your mom and the man you believe is your dad, what's going through your mind right now that you have the whole story?
Right. I have 3 children of my own. Because of what I've went through growing up as a kid, as far as not having a father, I have vowed to always be in my children's life. If the results come out that he is my father, I want him in my life. I want him in my children's life. You know, we deserve that. You know, and if he isn't, then, you know, we have to move on and find out who is.
If, in fact, he's not your biological father, do you want to seek out this other man?
Definitely.
You do.
Definitely. My children deserve to know who their
Yes, they do.
grandfather are.
Mom, do you know where this other man is?
I have no idea where he is, but he's aware that I was pregnant and Larry came back and all that.
Okay.
And he's given me pictures, you know, just in case this situation come out where the DNA say he is the father, he would be interested in getting back into my son's life.
You didn't know any of that was going on, did you?
No, ma'am.
And I'm sorry for that, son. I should have told you.
I'm ready for the results, Jerome. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Touray versus Lacey, when it comes to 25-year-old Trevon Lacey, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Lacey, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you. Now stand up. Give my son his respect. Give him his father. Hug your daddy.
How does it feel, Trevon?
It's exhilarating. I want to thank you for bringing out these results and, hopefully that we can move forward with our lives.
I have nothing to say.
Cold as ice. You talked this whole case. Why?
I'll contact Trayvon at a later date, and I'll discuss with him and me and him make plans to get together or whatever. But at this moment, I just have not much to say.
Look, this is what paternity secrets do. They rob people of their joy. They rob people of their family. He just got robbed of another moment. And I don't like it. And you know why he got robbed? Because of that chapter you left out.
You're right.
We're in paternity court, but some days it's maternity court too. Because it is both parents that cause these children to go without and to be robbed. It bugs me that when I said you are the father, that you stood still like that and never looked over at your son. That bugs me. I'm upset.
I don't have nothing to say to him at the moment.
You don't have anything to say to your son?
Not at the moment.